Fuel, passion, drive was what Eric talked to us about, right? Those are the things that all of you represent on behalf of this region. And I couldn't be more happy to be here to celebrate with all of you. Ian, thank you for sharing this story. I know for a fact that people in this room, they see the parallel. They understand the challenges that you all have fought through to reach this moment, just like we have fought collectively for this moment. And together, what you're doing and what we're doing here to maximize the moment on behalf of your community in Wrexham, for your willingness to share these lessons with another sleeping giant, right? That's what I'm feeling today for this region, for both of our communities. Mighty industrial powerhouses that were forced to endure a decades-long relegation, but who use every single off-season to rebuild and who are primed for a new season of opportunity. Now, they say success is in your game plan, but it's also in your team. And I am incredibly fortunate to work with a world-class team of professionals at CenterState CEO. And as much as anyone in this room, they have earned the right to celebrate and to enjoy this moment we're experiencing in Central New York, working just as hard in the lean times as they are right now, always focused on the future and what is best for this community. Please give our entire staff a significant round of applause. I want to acknowledge my wife, Corinne, and thank her for all she does and for the contributions she makes to this community in her own right. And finally, I want to congratulate National Grid, our Community Visionary Award winner. National Grid is an unwavering partner in all that we do, and we thank them for consistently, day in and day out, leaning into the hard work with all of us to make this community a better place. Celebrate every win, right? Every single one of them. Because while there is no I in team, there's no team success without individual contributions, large and small. Now, each of you in this room represent both things. A team working in concert to pull this community out of its economic malaise by sheer force of will, and individual business owners making personal sacrifices, taking risks, making investments, and creating jobs that, when taken in sum, represent a new high watermark for the Central New York economy. Today, we celebrate you, each and every single one of you in this room, for hiring more than 3,800 people, building over 870,000 square feet of expansions, and making more than $2.3 billion in capital investments. 124 businesses recognized for opening a new business or location or storefront. 52 that are highlighting a major anniversary. 107 recognized for receiving significant awards and achievements, and 56 firms who are making commitments to advancing diversity, equity, inclusion within their own individual businesses. It is your collective accomplishments that are putting Central New York in a place where we have now been promoted. Now think about that for a moment. In the hundreds of years of Central New York history, is there another moment in time, post the Erie Canal boom era, that better exemplifies the grit and the tenacity and the perseverance of the people of Central New York? That reinforces that when you put in the work, you reap the rewards. Feels amazing, doesn't it? Whether you're new to Central New York or you've lived here your whole life, the energy and the excitement in this community today is palpable. But for those of us who've lived here for years, today's winning streak perhaps has a slightly different meaning. Because winning is so much sweeter when you've endured the pain and heartache and the socioeconomic trauma of years of losing. Now, to be honest, it's that feeling that first drew me into the FX documentary, Welcome to Wrexham. Now, by show of hands, how many folks in the room have watched the series or even a few episodes? Okay, for those of you who haven't, go home today and watch it. I am not kidding you. If you watch this show, it will feel like looking in the mirror. This is a comeback story. It's a love story for place and for the people. It's an odyssey that includes the siren song of flashy distractions, but that resolves itself with focus, tenacity, and determination. Now, in the first episode of the show, Rob McElhaney, despite what Ian said, no relation, has this really poignant monologue talking about how he forged an immediate connection with Wrexham because of his time growing up in Philadelphia. Now, that community had its own proud history, encountered tough times, and maintained a solidarity amidst the gloom through Philadelphia's sports teams. He speaks to the deeply personal connection of people to place and the role that sports plays in building and maintaining identity, and to the power of winning. In his case, when the Eagles won the Super Bowl in 2018, and what that meant to generations of Philadelphians. Now, the fact is, I'm sure many of you in this room, listening to Ian's story, the story of Wrexham and its football club and its people, can feel the parallels to our own community's journey. A story of industrial might that powered its nation's rise. A story of welcoming immigrants and settlers from all over the world to fuel that economic engine and create lasting richness and cultural diversity. A story of economic displacement. A story of revival. A story about joy and the power of sports. And a story about promotion, moving up a tier or two in quick succession and knowing that the world is now watching what is happening in these places, both in Wrexham and in Syracuse, to see if and how we can continue to succeed. That is our moment. And while our stories aren't fully written, they are filled with renewed hope and expectations for the future. It's also a story about Rob and Ryan. Only in our case, Rob is the taller one. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Another show of hands. How many of you played organized sports, or maybe you still do? We learn so many lessons from our experiences on the court, or the field, or as they call it in Wales, the pitch. We learn about individual determination and teamwork, about having a plan, about the importance of practice and persistence, about the thrill of victory and how what we do in moments of defeat shapes future success. Now, I spent so much of my childhood watching sports, playing sports, soccer and basketball primarily. Practicing when I wasn't playing. I'd literally shoot baskets in my driveway for hours in the middle of February with a 6-foot snowbank as a backstop. I would kick a soccer ball 1,000 times against my chimney outside, hoping to God I did not put the ball through the 2 windows on either side. And then there was the competition, right? The camaraderie of working together towards a common goal, the desire to win, the occasional trophy, the indelible sting of failure. Now, I remember one game in particular. It was a championship game. We were playing on the main court at Utica College, and we were playing our closest rival. The game was back and forth all game, from the start to the very end. We just scored. We were up 1 with 10 seconds left. Now, they pass the ball around, bring it down the court, move it around. They find their best player, and he cuts to the middle of the court, wide open at the free throw lane, and he puts up an uncontested shot. And he literally misses everything. Air ball. Jubilation on our side. Devastation on theirs. There's 3 seconds left. Now, I grab the ball to pass it in, and there's their tallest player on the other team, and he's jumping up and down, waving his arms and hands, trying to make it difficult for me. But out of the corner of my eye, I see our point guard, wide open, cut to the right corner. So I duck down right, below his arms, pass the ball, and boom. My pass is low. Bangs off his shin, out of bounds. 2 seconds left. What do you think happens? Of course, they inbound it. Of course, they get it to their best player. course he makes the shot, because second chances and redemption, and he wasn't going to miss again. Such is the power of sports that standing here telling you this story today, I hurt inside. But was that the last time I stepped foot on a basketball court? Of course not. But it was the last time I made that same mistake. The reality is, winning simply feels better when you know the pain of losing and the price of failure. And failure is only final when you stop learning and adjusting your game and trying again. Now, Central New York, like Wrexham, is on a winning streak. But this is a moment in our history that has not come easy. We've learned a lot together over the years. We've had our share of mistakes and of failures and of false starts, but that has only made us stronger and more resilient and more prepared for this moment. And this moment is real, and it is big, and it will persist. Now, in April at our annual meeting, we talked about how geopolitical forces and climate forces and market forces are driving renewed investment in the US and in the Northeast in particular. And all of the data we track suggests that we need to get used to our newfound status as an emerging growth economy and get used to the tougher competition that comes with promotion to a new tier. Put simply, we need to get used to winning again, because we're going to be stacking even more wins together like the ones we have seen in the past few months. Look at Lotte Biologics, which recently acquired the former Bristol Myers manufacturing facility on Thompson Road. Now, just this year, they've invested more than $49 million in their campus, with plans to invest hundreds of millions more in order to transform that site into a leading manufacturer of biologic drugs that cure and treat some of the most devastating human diseases. And that's happening right here in our backyard. Or Felix Scholler in Pulaski, that cut the ribbon on a brand new $30 million manufacturing line yesterday that will produce custom silicone release liners and open up entirely new markets for the company with self-adhesive papers and products, while they're creating 29 jobs in a community that desperately needs them. TTM Technologies, which acquired Anaren in 2018, announced plans this month to create 400 new jobs on top of the 600 employees they already have here in Central New York. This $100 million advanced manufacturing facility will deploy disruptive printed circuit board technology in support of national security requirements. Now, Central New York was selected in a competition with 16 other states and ended with New York on top once again. And just days before that, our region was selected as one of 31 federally designated tech hubs, rewarding our newly formed partnership with Buffalo and Rochester to create a leading center for semiconductor research, development, and manufacturing right here in upstate New York. Not only is the Tech Hubs program a remarkable validation of just how far our community has come, rising to the ranks of one of America's most innovative and promising centers of innovation, but it also unlocks hundreds, if not billions of dollars in potential future federal investment into this thruway corridor to accelerate our growth and improve the prospects for every business owner and every resident in this region. And finally, Turning Stone Resort and Casino announced this year the largest evolution of hospitality and tourism assets in several decades, making a $370 million bet on the future of Central New York and the Mohawk Valley, not just as a world-class center for innovation and manufacturing, but as a world-class destination as well. Now, in years past, any one of these announcements would have been a defining accomplishment for the region. But today, along with the stories of each and every one of you and your businesses, those of you in this room and beyond, these stories serve to reinforce the moment we're in, a moment of unprecedented opportunity. Narrative elements of our comeback story, decades in the making. A moment that is not defined by Micron's selection of our community for the largest manufacturing investment in our country's history, but one that is certainly solidified because of it. $100 billion, 4 state-of-the-art fabs, 9,000 direct employees, 40,000 indirect and induced jobs, and one giant flag planted squarely in a field in clay that says, Central New York is back and we aren't going backwards. Winning simply feels better when we know the pain of losing and the price of failure. And we certainly do. So as we leave here today, I want to leave you with 3 lessons from the depths of our economic doldrums that we would be wise to keep in mind as we ride this new wave of opportunity. First, sustainable and successful economies do not depend on any individual employer. No matter our enthusiasm for Micron or any other single new project that's happening in this region, we must stick to the game plan that got us back to our winning ways. Successful economies do one very important thing. They start more companies than they allow to fail. They invest in innovation. They celebrate creativity and the entrepreneurs that build and sell companies and create wealth and employment opportunities for our residents. And that is exactly what we're doing by expanding the Tech Garden. Now more than ever, we need to level up. We need to build a bigger funnel. We need to identify more entrepreneurs. We need to offer more space and programs and capital, because these companies represent both our resilience and our opportunity. Second, we need to keep equity at the center of our strategy. For too long, economic growth has exacerbated socioeconomic and racial disparities, and these disparities have left people and families hurting, struggling to make it, suffering trauma and adverse health impacts, and sometimes even mistreatment. And that cannot be the legacy of this moment that we're in today. Or else winning will look a lot more like an MVP trophy for a select few than it will a true team championship. You heard from Eric about the Growth and Equity Fund and how businesses in this room have directly invested in and impacted Black Cub's success, and we want to do more of that. We need to do more of that. And your investment in that fund means we have a larger funnel for more equitable opportunity. And finally, this isn't Wrexham. We do not have Ryan Reynolds and his 50 million Instagram followers to get the word out. So if you are proud of what's happening, tell someone, call a family member, post on social media, like and share an episode of our podcast, or tell your own version of the Central New York story to whomever will listen. Be excited about this moment, celebrate this moment, enjoy this moment, because you helped craft it. Those of you in this room and our peers and our colleagues who aren't here today, you've shaped it. This is your story as much as it is ours, and it's time that we let the world know what we have been up to. For our part, we have again partnered with Advanced Media New York to give our residents and our companies a place to celebrate what is happening here in our community. This is CNY, formerly Good Life CNY, can be a tool to help you recruit talent, to help others learn about our wins, to help a friend or a loved one find out about our jobs or explore our quality of life. Please visit the site, share it with your network, because together our voice has reach. Now, in sports, almost everyone, has a favorite team. And for every fan we know, there's also a team we love to hate. Now, for me, that team is Notre Dame. I'm sorry, Al. And I'm sure there's a lot of Notre Dame fans here. But even in a team that I can't stand, I can find something that I respect and I appreciate and that we can all learn from. They do one thing I love. Every single Saturday, as they leave the home locker room and they hit the stairwell on the way to the field, all the players tap a sign that's painted on the wall. You know that sign. Play like a champion today. Now, the genius of that sign is that it speaks to the underdogs as much as to the champions, right? Play like a champion today. You don't have to be a champion every day, but today, in this moment, in this time, show up and play, compete and win. Or Play like the champion that you are. Defend what you've earned. We've known losing and we've known failure. We've known what it's like to be the hungry underdog. And today, as we sit here, we know what it tastes like to win and to feel the immense pressure of the hopes and expectations of our entire community and region on our collective shoulders. So as we leave here today, having celebrated together, let's remember to play like the champions that we are. And let us never forget the most important lesson of it all. It is when we work together that we win. Thank you all very much.